shop again for another shooting without a live audience to cause distractions. Okay, one thing you always need to be aware of is safety. Whenever I'm turning at home, I have a Turned Air Shield Pro that I use for both dust and eye protection. If I don't use that, then I'm using this full face shield here. Today, since I wouldn't be able to talk very well with this face shield on, I'll be using my safety glasses today. We're doing Christmas ornaments. I did a video about 2.5 years ago. It was titled Christmas in July. The title of I'm calling this now is Christmas Ornaments, a quick, easy, and cheap method. Quick is because the way I'm doing it, easy is the way I'm doing it, and the cheap method is the material that I'm using. And when we did the video before, I offered a paper. The paper was just a list of steps, but I've actually done a paper now that's got pictures and detailed instructions in it. So if you're interested in getting this paper, you can send me an email. It's GWA, that's Gwinnett Woodworkers Association, -Turner@hotmail.com. GWA-Turner@hotmail.com. I say we're making these ornaments today, and when you're making some project, you have to consider the length of time it takes you to prepare the material to put it on the lathe. Well, you can't get much quicker than starting out, or cheaper than starting out with a piece of 2x4 material, and then for quick, just a matter of running it through the table saw and chop saw a couple times, and you end up with a 1.5 inch cube for the body. And I got about a 7/8 inch square cross section piece, about 6 inches long for the finial and the icicle. So you can't get much quicker, easier, and cheaper in preparation for your material than that. So here's the finished ornament. Is made up of 3 components. We have the body that has a 1/4 inch hole drilled through it for mounting on a pen mandrel, and it's turned on a pen mandrel. And then it has a countersink with a 90-degree countersink making a 45-degree taper in both ends that meets up then with the finial and icicle. The finial and icicle have 1/4 inch tenons with a 45-degree taper on each one. So you can make bodies one day and finials and icicles another day, and they'll all fit together. You don't have to specifically match and make the icicle and finial then fit the body. So we'll start off with preparing the body to put on the mandrel. We'll drill the holes. I'm using this the Noah Tommy bar chucks. You may have heard people complain about put these chucks down. In that you need 3 hands to operate them. Well, I want to show you today that you don't really need 3 hands to operate them. I started off with, when I first started turning, I listened to people tell me, well, you don't want a Tommy bar chuck because you need 3 hands. Well, so I started off with a one-way Talon chuck. There was a keyed chuck, and it turned one direction to open the jaws. Well, then there was a good sale on a Nova G3 chuck, and you turn the chuck the other direction to open the jaws. So that was really confusing to remember which chuck you're using, which way you need to turn the key to make it operate. But in this one, all you have to remember on this Tommy bar chuck, this ring is the body, and this ring is the scroll ring. And you just turn those rings, and you can easily go. Another benefit is with a key chuck. In order to open the jaws or close the jaws of the full distance, you got to sit there and you got to rotate that key around and around and around. Well, with this one, all you have to remember is this ring here, the scroll ring. You push it away from you to close the jaws, and you pull it towards you to open the jaws. So, being that there's 2 holes on the chuck body. There's a hole here and a hole there. There's 2 holes there. On the scroll ring, there's 3 holes. So all you have to do is find the 2 holes. There's always going to be a couple holes that's going to be in the right direction for when you want to close the jaws down. Put a Tommy bar in there, put a Tommy bar in there, squeeze the Tommy bars together to close the jaws. And then if you want to open the jaws, you rotate it around, you can find the other 2 holes, and that'll take it the other direction. So there's always a set of holes on which with one hand you can put the Tommy bars in holes and just squeeze them together to move the jaws in the directions you need to move them in. So we'll go ahead and put this block in here. Now this isn't the preferred method of holding a piece of wood. Normally you recommend is to put it between centers and make a tenon on it, and then grip it with the tenon with the flat part resting against the surface of the jaws. But since this is a perfect square cube, I can get a good hold on it just like this. So again, I'll put a bar there and there, and then piece it together, and that tightened it. Just as simply as that. So now I want to mark the center. And I'm going to be using this this live center. It's from Craft Supply. I got the notes here in the paper. It's available from Craft Supply. It's made by Precision Machine. Several tips that you can get that are available for it. And this is the two tips I'm going to be using today. This is a 60-degree point. And this is it's got I think a 60-degree taper, but it's got a fixed 1/4-inch cone on it. And that's what I'm going to be using today for this project. So I'm going to start off with the point for the 60-degree. I just want to be able to mark the center. It's got a recess in there for a set screw to fit into. Okay, so I've got my 60-degree point in the live center, and I'm just going to use this just to mark that center to get a good registration point for the drill bit. Just drive it in a little bit, give me a point in there for the drill bit to follow. And then to drill the hole, I'm going to be using this. It's a drill chuck with a number 2 Morse taper on it, and it's got a center point countersink drill, I believe it's called. Both these pieces came from Harbor Freight. The chuck I think is like $12, and you get in the pack of these center point drills. I think it comes with 5 sizes. But I don't use a regular standard drill bit because it's much longer, and it doesn't necessarily center in there precisely where I want it. And also, I only drill halfway through the block. If I tried to drill all the way through the block with a regular drill bit, the bit would follow the softer areas of the grain and flex, and it wouldn't come through, or typically doesn't come out on the center of the other side of the block. So I drill from both sides and only going through halfway. So I've got the speed on the lathe. I'll set it for about 300 RPM. Okay, I'm only going to go in to about the depth of the, if you can see the flute on this bit only goes in about 1/2 inch or 3/8 of an inch. So I only go in about that far at a time, and then I need to back it out and clear the chips out of that flute. And I'll go in the full depth that I've got. It's going to be slightly over half. I don't want to go in any farther than that anyway. So okay, so we got that going through there. And then the next thing is I'm going to be putting a countersink. I'm going to crank that 45-degree taper. And what I have here is another drill chuck, a countersink that has a 90-degree point on it. This particular countersink was obtained at Peachtree Working Supply. And in my paper I have the part number and everything for it with the web address of Peachtree Woodworking. So now, when I've tried making this from scratch, making the complete hole with the countersink, it wants to move off slightly, so my cone ends up not being perfectly in the center. So what I do is I start making the cone with a countersink, but with a spindle gouge. Okay, so I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start the cone in there with the spindle gouge. Now, I get the bevel rubbing on here, and then I rotate around until I start cutting. And then once I get some support, then I can rotate the gouge around a bit clockwise to give me a better cut on that lower edge. Okay, that should be enough for the to give the a good purchase then on the countersink. So I'll go back down to about 300 RPMs then to finish that out with the countersink bit. Now the diameter of this countersink bit is 3/4 of an inch. So I only want to go down to where I'm just right at the end of the bevel to give me a 3/4 inch diameter cone there. If I go in farther than that, I'll end up with a straight wall in a ways, and then it starts tapering for the cone. I don't want that, because then my finial would not fit smoothly inside there. So I only want to go in deep enough to where I just at the edge of that bevel, once I get past that bevel. Right there. Okay, I'll only go no need for you to see the second side round. I've already got some other blocks prepared here, but that's how you prepare that. One of the things that I do is, let me get the, take that out. You can see there that it's got a little bit of fiber in there. Once I would drill all the way through, I've got a 1/4 inch bit that I've fixed in the handle. And I'll just take that 1/4 inch bit and just run it in there and just clean those fibers out like that to give me a cleaner hole. So I've got 3 bodies here that I prepared, and we'll put those on a pen mandrel to turn them. Okay, so we're going to be using a standard pen mandrel. Now I made up some bushings that's got 45-degree tapers on them. And the reason I did that is because a standard pen, the small metal pen bushings, or the bushings for pens, are much smaller and really wouldn't give you enough driving force to drive a larger piece of wood like that. The larger bushings that I've made will give me more purchase or registration on the block of wood to give more driving force. Okay, I just showed you the bushings that I pen mandrel. I'll just go through quickly and show you how I make those bushings. I've already got a block of wood mounted in here. I got a tenon in the pin jaws of my pin vise. This is left over for some previous thing that I was doing. So first thing I want to do is I'll make the bushing that is flat on the end. The end bushing is flat. The end bushing is flat here with the cone down there. So we'll do one of those first. So I want to start off with a flat surface here. And since we don't have any tailstock support, we'll need to make fairly shallow cuts, and also use my hand to help support it. You see that making? Okay, so there's our flat surface to work against. It'll be on either end of the string. So first thing I'll do is I'll come in with the live center and let it mark my hole for the drill bit. Then I'll use my 1/4 inch bit. Again, let it start and find its center that it wants to use. Match that down. We'll go about 300 RPMs. Well, there's 500. So just go in slowly down to the depth of the flute, clean it out, and just keep going in. Now, the reason I don't use a long bit and try to drill in the whole length of the thing here, the bit would not go straight. It would want to wander off to the path of least resistance, and it wouldn't come out the center. When we parted off on the other side, the hole wouldn't be in the center. So we'll go in this full depth here. Okay. So now just to give it a little bit of support, I'm going to switch. Okay, so now I just want to come in and make a 45-degree cut in there to give me the other. I've got the flat surface for this side of the bushing. Now I'm just going to come in and make a 45-degree cut to make the other side of the bushing, and it's going to. I got the hole drilled in past where I'm going to part it down, so I'm going to part it off, and it'll just be down where the hole's already in there. And again, I'll use my my spindle gouge. It's got the 45-degree bevel on it, so I'll just be able to start it. I don't want to completely go down past there because it would, I think I can back the tailstock off now and just give me, so there's the first bushing. And now we'll make a center bushing. See, I've still got a bit of the hole from the original pass through there, so let's go ahead and drill that a little bit deeper. I don't want to lose that hole. Get it back down to about 500 RPMs. Find the center. Too far. Clean it out. Whenever you're pulling the tailstock back out, you want to hold on to the chuck so it doesn't come out of the Morse taper and start flopping around. Okay, so we'll clean this up and make a good taper on here. Okay, so I want to clean that hole out a bit, so I'll use my drill bit that's got the handle mounted on it. Just to go in there and see it doesn't have a nice clean hole there, so I'll use the drill bit here, just run it in by hand to clean that hole out. So now I've got a nice clean entry hole there. So I'll put the live center back in to give some support out there. Actually, on this one, we probably could use the other tip. I'll show you how that would be nice. That way we could part it off and it would just stay right there on the shaft. So I'll take this tip out and put the other one back in. And I'll just have to make sure I go down past the end of that metal. In fact, let's mark it. I want to make sure I go down past there. Okay, so now we'll put this in. Now with that other point was just supporting it out here. If I went through it and completely separated that, it would have sort of caulked and bound and it could have thrown it out. With this point on here, now I'm going to actually be supporting that center part in there, and I'll be able to just come in and completely part that off, and the piece I'm parted off will just stay right there on that portion of the center. So I just need to come down past, when I make my taper, I want to make sure that I'm down at least that far and not hit the metal on my point. So we'll come down to our V groove about, all right, we'll say right there. I'm just going to come in there with the skew and just make that bead move larger. Now it's hard to judge the 45-degree angle with that, so I'll go back to the spindle gouge. And again, if I'm holding it straight in like this, when I just push it in, it's going to be a 45 degree because that nose bevel is 45 degrees. And that's it. There's other. So there's our bushing that we can use in the center then. It's got the taper on both sides. So let's just thread those on there. And I got the pen mandrel set to do 3 at a time. You could easily set, change it down, do 2 or 1. Just do 3. And again, being these blocks of wood, since they're larger than a pen block of wood is, you have to crank it down pretty tight to give so the blocks of wood don't spin. Okay, we have the body blocks mounted on the pen mandrel. Got the 60-degree point coming up supporting the end of the pen mandrel. And then the first thing we do is make those round. And what I'm going to be using for that is this. This is one of the Harbor Freight set with the purple handle, but it's called a continental gouge. It's got a 45-degree with the not straight across. It's rounded over a little bit with a 45-degree bevel on the nose. That's what I'll be using for a roughing gouge to make this round. And as far as speed, we'll turn the speed up to about 1200 or so, just until we get the corners knocked off. Okay, but the continental gouge, even though I was doing a shearing cut, the surface there is not as smooth as what I'd like for it to be, because I'm going to, when I'm doing a body that's shaped something like this, that is my diameter, that I've got the same diameter here. So I want to have that center part smooth so I don't have to do very much sanding on there. So I'm going to use a skew to give me a better, cleaner cut in the center. And then again, this is a skew out of the same set of Harbor Freight tools with the purple handle. I've modified it a bit. I've rounded over the bottom here so I can use it for rolling beads if need be. I've taken the sharp corners off of the top so it doesn't dig into the tool rest. And then for the bevel, I've got a rounded, instead of straight across like the tool came, I've got it rounded similar to what you see with Alan Lacer and Richard Graffin. So we'll use this then just to clean up at least the center part of each of those to give me a nice smooth surface, so we'll cut down on the amount of sanding. And then again, I've got the lathe running at about 1800 RPMs. Okay, so you can see now I've got much smoother, cleaner surface there. I didn't touch the edges, but this, I'm concerned about is the center part. It's much smoother there. It's going to require very little sanding. So the next thing then is to start shaping it for what you want. So we'll do one. We'll do a couple. We'll make them round. Now we can't really make a spherical because I would need to have the block wood maybe a little bit shorter to get it spherical, but so I'll do one like that, and maybe do one like this. And then we'll do one, if you have trouble making it balanced, symmetrical, we'll purposely make one asymmetrical. So the first thing I do is I come through and I mark the center, just as a reference point, at least on the one that I'm going to make symmetrical. Just mark the center there, and then this one here we'll do that one with the point in the center and the flat side. So we'll mark the center on that one at 3/4. This one over here, since we're going to make it asymmetrical, we'll put a mark up here, say about 1/3 of the way down, which would be about 1/2 inch down. So we'll make it so it's sort of sort of conical shaped on the bottom, but it's going to be an asymmetrical type of shape. So I'll come out and mark my center line, just rotate my hand. Okay, to help making a symmetrical, I'm moving the tool rest with it turned off there, but there's no points there for it to catch on to. I got the height of the tool rest. When I'm cutting a bead, my tool is going to end up pointing directly in like that. So I want the tool rest so it's comfortable when I come around the corner. So to start off with, instead of just coming back here and trying to make it sweep, you can come in here and you just sort of knock the corners off. Like that. And then knock that corner off there. Knock this corner off here. And just sort of whittle your way down. Okay, so now we'll come back here and we'll just I can't really start here and come all the way around, so I still got to nibble a little bit away. So when I'm cutting, I want to start off. I want the bevel's rubbing. I'm not doing any cutting. I'm going to raise the handle and rotate it a bit until I start getting cut. And then I've got to rotate the handle around. The bevel of the tool has got to be pointed in the direction that I want to make the cut. So as I come around, I've got to end up with it down like this, the handle pointing directly into to the center of the rotation. And it's not a speed contest. You don't need to rush it. You can just take your time. Okay. So now the trick is to make this side look like that side. Let's see if I can do it without getting in the way. And now as I'm doing that, I'm watching the profile, I'm not watching my tool cut down here, I'm watching the profile develop up here. So I want to try to make this profile look the same as that profile over there. Okay, I was looking at the profile up here and feeling it, and I've got a little bit of a ridge right there. So I want to come back and get rid of that ridge. Pretty good. And now it won't take much sanding for that. One thing I just realized, forgot to show you what tool I'm using. This is a Sorby unhandled. I think it comes from their Sovereign system where you can buy the tool steel unhandled. And then it's a handle that I made myself with a insert. It's aluminum. It's got the set screw there to hold it in place, so I can extend the tool out to whatever I need. But this has got a fingernail grind on it. And it's got about a 30-degree bevel on the nose. So that's the tool I'm using for this. Okay, so I think we're done with that one. We'll move over here to the center. Now this one we'll just do this one. We'll make a body that's shaped. We'll do this sort of shaped body on this one. It's just high on the center and tapers down on both sides. Okay, now again, I can't just start back here and take it all at once. So I just got to go just whittle it down a little bit at a time. And I'm starting with the not rubbing again, and then you raise the handle to where it starts cutting, and I'm cutting down there on the lower edge. So it's basically cutting like you would with a skew. I'm getting a shear cut. And I want to watch my flat down there. I don't want to go any farther than my 3/4 inch. So I still remain with a 3/4 inch diameter on my cone down there. So now again, we want to come back this side and match that same profile over there. Now I'm looking at the flat over here on the top of the cone. I've just got a little bit of flat there. I'm not down to the diameter, outer diameter of that cone. Okay, and this one will just make it a sort of an asymmetric. We'll just sort of give it a general curve down to there and a curve this way, so I don't have to worry about making both sides the same. Again, now this I'm going to be pretty much like that, so we'll do the same thing here. We'll just knock off the corners, then knock off that corner, knock off this corner, and then I'll come back and try to blend all that stuff in. Okay, you got it. Around there, I would like to get rid of that bit right there. I want it to be a nice flowing curve down into there. So I'll come back and knock a bit more off of there. I would have liked, I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller in my 3/4, so I'll have to make the icicle to fit this, and I don't like that. It's curving down and it's sort of flattening out right there. I want to make that more of a curve all the way around there. Okay, yeah, that's better. Okay. So next thing we do is we need to sand it. Shouldn't take too much sanding on those. I'll start out with just a brief touch of 180, just to get rid of any little final ridges. Turn the speed down to about 500. And I'm saying 180 sandpaper. I cut a sheet of sandpaper into thirds, going both directions, and I fold them over like that. And I got 3 surfaces there and 3 surfaces here that I can use for have fresh paper. I'll get rid of that pencil line in the center. Okay, and then we'll go to 220. Okay, and then before I continue on, we'll go ahead and we'll do some decoration on there. And for the decoration, I'm going to use a wire burner with some wire, just regular Ace Hardware wire. I've got a couple of dowels that I made and drilled holes in it, and I put it in there. So when I hold it, I'm going to hold it like this. I'm not going to hold it like this, where if it should catch, I want to be able to let go. So I'm just going to hold it like that. So if it would catch, it's going to pull it out of my hands. The first thing we do is mark where we want to put the lines at. Over here on this one, we'll put, we should have marked that. Let's come back in. Okay, the 3/4 is my center line. I want to come off to 3/16 there, 4/16, 3/16, and 4/16. And then this one, just put put 3 right in the center. So we'll just put 1 right there, there, and there. And this is up here, we'll just put 3 of them. 1 there, there, and there. We'll come back and put our lines all the way around it so we can see it when it's turning. Okay, now I need to make a groove there so the wire, have something for the wire to fit into. This is another homemade tool. It's a piece of 1/4-inch high-speed steel got from Enco, and just ground a pyramid point on it. And then again, a handle with an insert that got a set screw so I can adjust the length. And actually with this one you can put something completely different on the other end of the steel down there. So you can put like a skew or some other kind of tool, and then you have 2 different tools in one handle then. So I'm going to take the speed back up to about 1800. I'm just going to make just enough of a groove there for the wire to have a place for the wire to register into. I'm holding it with the flat part of the pyramid facing up. So I've got my cutting edge there and there. Okay, then to do the burning, I want to crank the speed up a little bit faster than that because I want to make some heat there and generate some smoke to get the burning. And again, I'm holding it like that, so if it should catch it, I'll pull it right out of my hands. You'll put some pressure on it until you see smoke coming off. Okay, give a little bit of decoration to the pine, and then once you get done with that, you want to put the wire down and not touch it for a while because it's going to be pretty warm. Okay, so now we can continue on with the sanding. I left off at 220, and I'll go back and I'll just hit it lightly with 220 again because it raises a little bit on the edge of those grooves where I cut the grooves. The 220 should knock that off. Yeah. Okay, then we'll do some 320. one. Okay, that was 320. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a coat of sanding sealer on there before I do the 400. And the finishing that I'm going to be using to start with, I'm going to use this Milan's cellulose sanding sealer. And Milan's friction polish. And then we're going to use this Triple E Ultra Shine to buff out the friction polish. And then we'll put a coat of wax on it with regular Kiwi neutral shoe polish. So I put my sanding sealer and friction polish. I think these little cake decorating things I got from Joann's Fabric, I think it was, or Michael's, one of those places that has that sort of thing. But just instead of opening the can up and letting air in the can all the time, I just put it in here. My paper towels, instead of taking a large piece of paper towel out, I've cut the paper towel into 2-inch wide strips with a bandsaw. Put a dowel in there, fixed it with a magnet on the back so it sticks on the side of the lathe. Can came from the dollar store, and cut a slot in the side then for the paper towel to stick out through. So I can just take off a piece of paper towel, however big a piece I need. I'm not using a large piece of paper towel. I'm going to use a glove so I don't get that finish on my hand. And I just take the towel and just sort of fold it over into thirds. I'm going to slow the speed down to about 200-300 RPM so it doesn't sling it all over me. I'm just going to hold the paper towel underneath the material, underneath the block, and just drizzle some on the top. And that dries fairly quickly. Once it's turn the speed up a little bit to dry it off. Turn the speed back down to about 400. Now 400 grit sandpaper. And then you want to use some. It's like Scotch-Brite. It's not Scotch-Brite though. It's some product they have at Peachtree Woodworking. This is the equivalent to the light gray Scotch-Brite. It's about 600 grit, and the white I think is about 800 grit. So I'll just go over that with the green. And then the white. Okay, then we'll put on some of the friction polish. Now I don't use the friction polish as friction polish per se because I've never been really happy with the results I get. I'm probably doing something wrong, but I've tried different RPMs and different amounts. I know you put just a small amount on and you need to generate heat, but it seems like I always get some sort of rings around it. So I'm going to turn the speed down just to get the application so it doesn't sling all over me. And again, I'll just put the towel down here and I'll just drizzle some on. And we'll turn the speed up a little bit more to just to burnish it a little bit. I'll turn it back down, just put another coat on. Turn the speed back up and polish it a little bit. Paper towel. Okay, then to actually polish that friction polish, I'm going to use the Triple E Ultra Shine. It's a light compound with wax. Just put some on the towel. Okay, I'm going to turn the speed up a bit higher. I'm going to get my fingernail and get any excess buildup out of those grooves. And we'll come back with some Kiwi shoe polish. This is, instead of just using the paper towel, this is a box of rags from Ace Hardware, but it's still a paper towel, but it's a little bit better quality for buffing with the wax. Fresh area. That'll just about do it. Okay, so we've applied our finish and sanded it. I think we're finished here with the ornament bodies. Go ahead and take them off. And we have our finished product. Okay, that's it for the bodies. Then we have another segment if you're interested in watching how to do the finials and icicles, and that'll be in our part 2 of this video. Thank you for watching.